thank you for explaining that. I do have other questions, but I wouldn't want to take up the entire board's time.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Mayo. And I think we could return this discussion of this report as, you know, as we move forward as a district. Thank you again for stepping back in the room. Thank you. Okay, we did have a few unanswered questions from February 25th, and then the request was to put this topic back, this item back on the agenda, which is now 15.7. And that goes more to our own district's actions, not so much the FCMAT report itself, but our own district actions. So I believe questions, if I can get to the next item. Some of those questions have been returned, but they've been questions still to be answered. So the question still to be answered, I think the last board meeting we were looking at the special education FCMAT report. We did get that finally released on February 25th from the superintendent, and then in the process we found out there was an additional FCMAT report that came forward. But this is on the specific one. What I think the question that I'm getting and why I'm going to this is what the district intends to do with the report. Now from the FCMAT folks, I heard that the goal in people ask, why does the district go out and seek the report? Mr. Mims says if you go out and ask the question, be ready for the answer. You know, don't ask the question if you don't want the answer. So we asked the question, we got the answer. And oh, I'm sorry, here we have two individuals who want to speak, and they get to speak before me. So I'm going to suggest that we take Carmen Terrones up first, and then Willie Mims. 15.7, the questions for our district about the release of the FCMAT report. It's a different topic than the last one, was just highlights of the FCMAT. This is around our own district's use or, you know, of the FCMAT report. Carmen?
Thank you. And yes, I do have some questions. And first of all, it's my understanding that there was a draft for this FCMAT report. And the recommendations were slightly different from what's presented on the February 25th report. And the fact is the creation of 3 directors, which will mean more upper management, no increase on clerical support, and let's remember that 5 secretaries have been eliminated out of special ed in the past few years. I hope that this board will take a close look and at these recommendations and proceed fairly. I mean, we have to remember that classified staff is not only needed in special ed and student services, but district-wide. My questions also were like, who was interviewed for this study? My recollection is back in April, we had pretty much new staff in special ed. And we had new secretary, we had 2 or 3 new administrators, and also I would like to know if Dr. Brown was part of this study, because some of the recommendations that I see, I can't see that it will come from Dr. Brown. So as Local 1 CST unit president, my members are very concerned about creation, again, of more higher paid management, and the fact that we want some transparency from upper management. The fact that the draft dated July 2012, it's a bit different from what is posted on the report dated 2/25, make us wonder how trusty this higher management is. Thank you.
Thank you. I did see the draft, it was different, and so I think some of what we do as a district really is, it's less about FCMAT coming into me and summarizing what's in the report. I actually think it's going to come down to what you're talking about is really how the district uses the information is probably far more pertinent to us right now. When you go out and seek a FCMAT report, what is the purpose and how are we going to apply that? And is this really meant to be for system improvement? Then it's really going to be a big internal process for the district to take the FCMAT recommendations and make decisions around program and staffing. But that's a big internal conversation. And hopefully through that conversation we can build a culture of trust out of it and make sure we're forthright about the information. So thank you for bringing up those questions. Mr. Mims?
Yes, I'm just somewhat confused. I thought that this was going to be, the staff is going to give us an update on the access of this report and the release of the report. So I'm not sure. I don't have anything to say, and I don't know what they're going to say. But I'll just say this, that that any report that's generated with the people of the money comes under the Brown Act. I mean, the California Public Records Act, 6250. And so the people have a right to have access to those reports. The issue, and I think that you had raised that earlier, Ms. Hanson, was when was the report released? And why was the public not made aware of it? And I'm not sure if you got that answer. But I know that according to the Assembly Bill 139 in California Education Code 1241.5, that once those reports, once the reports are signed over, there's a 45-day window, and then it's 45/15. I'm not sure what the 15 means, but it takes 45 days before the report is supposed to be completed. And so the 45 days, I'm not sure when the report was requested, but from that moment, it's a 45-day, 15-day window in which the report has to be generated and made aware to the public or to the board and shared with the people. And so I heard you make some comments about hiding. I don't know, but I do know that the law and the Ed Code says that you have 45 days, before after the report has been generated, and it should be shared with the people. And so I'm not sure about, and the people have a right to that report no matter what, because you use taxpayers' money. So that's what I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think the draft I saw was July 2012, and then the report was released February 25th, 2013, so it was a 7-month gap. And that's why I'm saddened to have to ask that question, is where is that report? And, if we're gonna commission a report, it's good to have it released quickly and acted upon. So we had these questions. That was the end of public comment, and I don't know if board members, perhaps Mr. Lawrence, have some questions around this, I think.
I do, but I think you had asked the first one, which was, what is the district's procedure and rationale for seeking, releasing, and acting upon FCMAT reports? So I think that's probably a good place to start.
Well, I think the rationale was shared with the board last May when we asked permission for both the transportation report and the special ed report. We had a fairly large deficit spending, and the county reports that they generate on an annual basis showed that both our areas of special ed and transportation were differentially higher than other districts in the county. So really the question was, is what's happening that are creating differential costs? And so was there something that we could do to rein in our costs and look at that? Because obviously we have to continue to make reductions when we've already made substantial reductions. So really it was to create some ideas and guidance on what's happening around the state, what are other people doing, what's been done successfully, and that's why the idea of bringing in FCMAT for those two reports was done. I think as the implementation of any component of the report, again, we brought it out. When I met with CAC, they asked, don't just agendize it and put it on the agenda, but give us some time to respond to it. And so that's why at the last board meeting, we publicly attached it to our website and we made it available, and that gave them 2 weeks to generate their questions and responses and so forth. And then we brought it tonight as an information item. We did the same thing with the transportation report. We made that public, and then we gave them an opportunity to generate their questions. As we move forward, again, it's taking a look at those recommendations and working with CAC and then bringing forward to the board recommendations recommendations that we think we can implement in this school